Hi everyone, this is For the Love of Comics and a very warm welcome to this quick channel update. In this video, we'll be tackling three things. One, I'll be setting up a viewer requested Q&A for a later episode. Two, I'll be quickly sharing with you my favorite piece of comics merchandise. And three, I'll be announcing the winner of our first and secret giveaway here at For the Love of Comics, that of a copy of Tintin on the Moon, the 2-in-1 edition brought out this year by Egmont. So without further ado, let's dive right in. A few weeks ago, I ran a poll here on For the Love of Comics' community page on YouTube, asking the viewers what they'd like to see that they hadn't seen before in the 100 episodes we've done so far. The winner of that poll by a wide margin was me co-hosting an episode with my wife, which we actually have transformed into a series of videos. We'll be making 12 videos together on the Sandman. And if you haven't caught our first introductory episode, I'll link that in the description below and in the top right corner of your screen. Also, if you're not familiar with our community tab here on YouTube, I strongly recommend you check it out. There are tidbits that are shared over there, and I run polls to see what other kind of videos I should be making. In fact, there's a poll running right now that you can vote on if you haven't already. Anyway, although co-hosting an episode with my wife was the clear winner in that poll, the runner-up option was a Q&A, which people have continued to ask me for after that poll has closed. Now, I'll also be traveling for work in the upcoming week, which means that I'm not going to have time to put in the kind of dedicated research and work that one of my episodes usually require. So I thought this was a good chance for me to work on a Q&A for you that I can shoot as soon as I'm back. So for those of you who have questions for us here at For the Love of Comics, either for me or for my wife or for both of us together, I'm going to ask you to leave them in the comment section of this video. I do chat with many of you here in YouTube's comment sections over email. Those of you who write to us at ftlocomics@gmail.com, on Instagram, on Facebook, and those chats do include a number of questions on books, comics, and even collecting. There are some questions that repeat, and then there are some interesting questions that I think others might be interested in answers for as well. So along with leaving your questions in the comments below, do read through other commenters' questions. If you hit like on their question, I will pick the questions that have the most likes, because I'll take that as an indication that's a question many people have. So I'll take this week while I'm traveling to go through those questions, see which are the most popular ones, and prepare answers for you. And I'll shoot the Q&A video as soon as I'm back, hopefully having it up for you very shortly. Speaking of questions, one question that I've received a couple of times over email is about comics merchandise, about action figures and posters, prints, and of course comics merchandise covers a huge area. And some of these questions have had to do with what I'm interested in collecting apart from comics. Now, the truth of the matter is I'm not really that interested in comics merchandise, although maybe not interested isn't the right way to put it. Maybe I'm a little too interested. I avoid comics merchandise because things that are pretty and things that relate to comics that I've really enjoyed are just a little too tempting to pick up. If they're part of a series, you'll want to collect all of them, and everything that you see, especially when it relates to something you've really enjoyed, feels like something you should possess. Knowing my addictive personality, I know that this would probably lead me down a rabbit hole of just gathering more and more stuff. And that is something I really want to avoid. I already collect comics, as you've seen from my shelf videos. I have lots and lots of books all over the place, and I love collecting books. Not just because I love reading books, but because I love them as objects. I love their design. I love seeing them on the shelves. I like thumbing through them, but they do fulfill many purposes. They're not just an object. They're not just decorative. And that's kind of the way I feel about merchandise. Too much of it is just for having an object, just because something is pretty and because you want to own it. Of course, there are exceptions. The most notable perhaps for me are t-shirts, but then again, t-shirts are functional. I like having nerdy t-shirts, but I'm always wearing a t-shirt, so it makes sense for me to have t-shirts. On the other hand, I've seen things like bookends that I think are absolutely gorgeous, but I just don't use bookends. All of my books are within shelves, and that's how they're going to be. And usually I find bookends to be a little impractical given the volume of books I have. It's never, 4 or 5 of them very prettily set aside on a large table. It's usually every square inch that I can find crammed with books. So as pretty as bookends are, and as lovely as they look to me, and as suited as they are to the kind of things that I collect, to me they would just be accumulating more stuff. All of this is to preface the showing of a very unusual piece of comics merchandise that I picked up recently. I just couldn't resist it. This is a rubber stamp brought out by Fantagraphics to celebrate their Little Nemo selection of books in the 1980s. And it features a panel from Winsor McCay's classic, one of those final panels of Little Nemo falling out of bed, waking up from his dream. I found this as part of an online bookstore's inventory, and I just had to have it. Although I have never used rubber stamps before, this illustration, both because of its style as well as its antiquity, seems to me to be perfectly suited for a rubber stamp. I got myself some very nice acid-free archival ink to use it with, and I will be utilizing this to stamp and personalize my favorite books in my collection. If I didn't use it that way, it wouldn't be very functional. It would be more stuff. So I'm also going to use it to stamp any free books or gifts or competition giveaways that I have from now on, giving it a very unique For the Love of Comics personalization using Little Nemo, one of For the Love of Comics' favorite comics. And I'm talking about books that I'll give away and prizes and all of that stuff because we just conducted our very first giveaway here on For the Love of Comics. In a previous video, the one there I was reviewing Tintin on the Moon, the 2-edition bind-up. In the middle of that video, I announced that I had a copy to give away to one lucky viewer. Way more people entered the contest than I could have expected, and I had a great time going through everyone's comments on that video as well as the other video that they commented on, the one they identified as the video that made them subscribe to this channel. I had such a good time going through everyone's comments and seeing what had attracted them to the channel, what their favorite comics were, which videos they enjoyed and why, that I really want to interact more with everyone. That's why the Q&A, and that's why I think I'll want to do more giveaways whenever I can. Of course, as I mentioned before, shipping books across the world is a little expensive, so I doubt I'll be able to do it all the time, but I definitely had a lot of fun. So much fun that I felt bad that there could be only one winner. Of course, that's the nature of such things. It's a lucky draw. But we all did get a little lucky because Egmont has given me not one, but 2 copies of Tintin on the Moon to give away. Although there's still going to be a whole bunch of people who don't make it, I am glad to be able to offer 2 winners an opportunity instead of the planned one. So finally, the moment that you've all been waiting for, our first winner is Ramin Khan. Congratulations. Ramin is a long-time viewer and friend of this channel, communicates with me very often on Facebook, so I'm thrilled to be able to say that one of these comics is coming towards you, Ramin. And our second winner is Carolyn Chan. Congratulations, Carolyn. Congratulations once again, Ramin and Carolyn. Write to me at ftlocomics@gmail.com. Send me your address and your phone number, and I'll have these out to you as soon as I can. Stamped and personalized with our now signature Little Nemo stamp. So that's it for this quick channel update video. Thank you so much, everyone, for bringing us to 2,000 subscribers and beyond, continuing to stick with us for 100 episodes and beyond. This has been, as it will always be, For the Love of Comics, and I'll see you at the next video.